Hello everybody and welcome back to some more beta Minecraft. At the end of the last video, I decided to record a quick little walkthrough of my build after I had finished recording, and for this I had my mic muted. I didn't realize I was still muted until halfway through recording this episode, so some of the lines are going to be recorded in real time and some will be added in post, just like I'm doing right now. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. If you'll remember, in the last episode, we had a bit of an accident, and I suffered my first death at the hands of a creeper that had snuck up on me in broad daylight. So I'm gonna mark the event by leaving a little reminder right by our door so that I can never live down this shame. For today's episode, we'll be working on a tree farm so that I don't need to deforest the area around my town every time I run out of wood. If you watched episode 1, this area might look familiar. On the opposite side of this hill, just across from our mountain, is spawn. And I thought this rectangular area of land would be the perfect spot to build a lumber yard. We're going to start this build the same way we start most of our builds, with some terraforming, because apparently that's all I do now. Seriously, you'd be surprised by how many hours of footage I have just digging up dirt. All we're doing right now is bringing down these higher points a couple blocks and filling in any craters as well as caves. I don't plan on using all this space, so I'm going to leave that area on the end mostly unchanged. My plan is to have a large fenced-in yard where we're going to be doing all our cutting, as well as a sawmill on the waterline where we can sleep if need be and store all our wood and saplings. Right now, I'm determining the width of our perimeter wall before we start building, as well as the center point for our gate that a future road will pass through. The design for this wall isn't one that I came up with. Instead, it comes from user temporary detail 4267 on the Golden Age Minecraft subreddit. I had spent a long time trying to come up with a design for a see-through wall akin to a chain link fence, but couldn't come up with a satisfying way to integrate full blocks and slabs with wooden fences. So thank you, Temporary Detail, for single-handedly saving this build. After finishing the wall, I intentionally left this spot empty for our sawmill. I want it to be a wooden building built on stone. I'll bring the shoreline in a couple blocks later to reveal the foundation sticking out of the hillside. As mentioned in a previous video, this build was suggested by one of our viewers by the name of Shup YouTube, or at least I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I got that wrong. I actually had to do a bit of research prior to recording this because outside of Skyrim, I don't think I've ever seen a sawmill. So I spent 30 minutes or so looking at old black and white photos, and what I found was that most sawmills back when were just small sheds that logs were passed through. Here I am trying to build a saw blade in Minecraft. And while the cobblestone stairs I used were way too wide to cut through anything, I found that their silhouette was actually pretty close to a semicircle. This is definitely the part of the build that I was least happy with. I believe my exact words while recording were, "Wow, that looks like shit. That's so bad." I'm pretty sure this video is cursed because I was already starting to feel a bit salty even before I realized I had wasted 2 hours of commentary. I want to apologize for any bad vibes I might give off, but making this video really took a lot out of me. That being said, I do like the end product and got a lot out of making it, so I do hope you enjoy it. Now, back to the video. Wow, so that sort of took the fucking pep out of my step. I just realized I wasn't recording my microphone. I feel so stupid. It's fine, I can just, do voiceover later, but it's going to make this episode a bitch to edit. So earlier I mentioned that I was on the Golden Age Minecraft subreddit looking for fence inspirations. And I saw one post a user had on an alpha world used signposts as a stand-in for fences because fences hadn't been implemented yet. So if I take the same sort of concept and line them all up in a row, we get sort of a decent, wooden track. That looks better than what we had before, actually. The only problem is there's this gap, which I'm not too happy about, as well as this these huge, gaps between the, stands, the legs. Still, it looks good. I'm okay with this. I wish we had a better saw, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Okay, because I don't have enough wood to finish the main building, I'm gonna start planting trees. And I do want a little space, sort of cleared out for specifically for farming. So I'm going to start on this side and just like plant some trees for decoration. I don't remember where I found it, but I recently found this trick online that if you place a block next to a sapling and put a torch on it, it will hold on. It should always grow into a larger tree. That's a bit less impressive than the other one, but whatever. It's been a while since I've built anything out of wood. It feels good. It feels simple and easy. It's always funny when I remember that you break wooden slabs faster with a pickaxe. I've read that this is because they share code internally with the stone slabs, which sounds like an easy mistake to make, but it's still silly, a little silly nonetheless. Ugh, man, it is hard making a convincing sloped roof when you can only place slabs on the bottom half of blocks. Would it be better if the stairs were full blocks? Maybe? It's hard to tell. I think so. That way the change is more gradual. Oh, god damn it. You know, I considered putting blocks above the trees to inhibit their growth, but I didn't think it would look very aesthetically pleasing, so I opted not to, and now I gotta cut this sumbitch down. Oh, fuck. Now that is a damn fine roof, if I do say so myself. Is it a little bit too, like, one note? It's all just very flat color, but I think the general shape is perfect. That looks like a sawmill to me, I think. Let's get a view of the back. The backside is really flat as well, but I think it'll look better once we got the water wheel on the side. Also, between recording sessions, I did this. If you'll remember, it was a very narrow walkway before, and it was super hilly. All I did was just widen it out and flatten it. It looks super flat right now, but once we get a road coming through here towards the mountain, I'm going to plant a bunch of trees and grass around so you won't really be able to tell. We're going to have a tunnel going through the mountain, and then the road is going to connect back up with our little town on the other side. So I'm thinking for the water wheel, I want it to be made primarily out of logs. Is this clay? No, that's stone. How do I start this? I think it'll be like this high. Something like that, right? Let's just knock these out. And instead we're gonna have stairs leaking it back up to the center. That looks pretty good, I think. My only worry is that it's going to be a bit too small, and the stone work behind it is going to look super flat. I think that works, but I don't know about the wooden, like, axle. And now for the piece de resistance. She's perfect. How can I improve the backside? I wanted this to look a bit more visually impressive from a distance. I really like how the water wheel turned out, but the rest of the backside looks super flat. I'm not sure how to improve this. I was thinking maybe wrap the this sort of like sloped roof around the back, but I don't think that would make much sense visually. Should I just put windows on the bottom floor? No, I think I'll just leave it as is, and we'll just try not to look at it. Man, I can't wait to get this road, like, dug out, because I am getting tired of climbing over this hill every time I need to go back and get more building supplies. So for the main road cutting through the yard, I decided to mix things up and use sand instead of gravel. And for our main growing area where we're going to be planting and chopping down our trees, I wanted it to be just plain old dirt, because I wanted it to look like the plant life was dead and like that like machinery had like driven over like all the grass and like killed it. So in order to prevent the grass from spreading back over, I had placed this little line in the sand with gravel. And that got me thinking that maybe we could use gravel in other places. I think this is where we're going to be like storing our like lumber piles, and I was thinking it could just like sit on a bed of gravel. Because I did want this build to look a bit like dirtier. I wanted it to look more like industrialized. And I think the more gray and like brown, the better. Because it was looking a bit too pretty over here, you know? So I think that's what we're going to do. You know, it would look even better if we could get like dead bushes in here, but I don't think there's any way to legitimately obtain them in this version. Does this work without sideways logs? Not really, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me, so I'm sticking with it. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna have to finish working on this road on my own time, because for the first time in forever, I'm out of gravel, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I do have a lot of terraforming I still have to do on the other side, so I suppose I'll save you the trouble. But unfortunately, that's all the time I have for this episode. Special thanks again to Shup for suggesting this build. This is the first time in the series that I didn't have a specific vision in mind when I started, but I think it turned out really well. It actually, to me, this actually reads as a sawmill, which, again, I had no idea what those looked like before starting. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.